Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Chelley Chelle, man. How y'all feeling? How's your quarantine going, man? What's going on, man? You already know this is my favorite day. I think today is more favorite because we're amongst such panic right now, and I think we really need to, just breathe, literally, Every week we have a different guest host, and I thought this would be cool and a good time for us to have somebody who can help us center ourselves and understand the connection between mind, body, and spirit, and kind of like while we're in the house, understand how to just relax and breathe. So please welcome to the stage the most spirited, the most kind, just great energy, Keisean Reigns to the building.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm so good.
Thank you again for coming.
You're so welcome. And I'm so grateful to be here. I've been listening and watching from a distance, and I know I was trying to connect with you as soon as I got back in town. So it's just divine timing that today ended up being available, and I'm ready to dive into some dope conversation.
Me too, man.
Give people some healing, some sense of peace, wherever they are. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
This is a good time for y'all to call in. This is, not a lot of podcasts give you the ability to call in. Call in. Bam. Thanks, Poetess. That's Poetess, dude. The right thing at the right time. 323-293-3375. Call in and share your experience right now with what's going on. How was your week?
It was a very interesting week.
Right.
It started off one way and took 6 or 7 different turns and ended up where we are today. Yeah. Literally down to the hour, things still changing.
Yeah.
But overall, it's an eventful week, but I was actually really excited because it gave me an opportunity to kind of dig into my practice in a different way and find new ways to connect with people. But definitely a bit of a shock, the Rona sinking in.
The Rona. I love the virtual meetups that I'm seeing a lot of. I haven't been able to tap into any of them, but I like that. I love how people are going live, and it's still this is what the beauty of social media is. If we were ever quarantined for some reason, we could still connect with each other. So I appreciate having those outlets and those platforms for us to still, know that other people are out there.
Exactly. Especially because a lot of times social media gets a really bad rap for just kind of being a place, for gossip and negativity and et cetera. But as we've learned in the last, 6 or 7 days, Instagram, Facebook, things like that is the only way that a lot of people are able to connect. Yeah. Not only with friends and family, but also to be able to conduct their business. Yeah. So for people like me, who I don't have the ability right now to legally go into a public space in a studio and teach a class or, facilitate a meditation. So all I have is virtual platforms right now. So I'm grateful for its existence, and I hope that people learn how to use it in a more positive way after the Rona.
And I love black. This is why I love black people. We will give anything a nickname. You know what I'm saying? We got this deadly virus. It's a pandemic, and we done nicknamed it the Rona. Like, we don't even respect it like that. It's the Rona.
It's the Rona.
It's the Rona. I love it. But no, you brought up an interesting point about our black creatives, our people who have black-owned businesses who are really feeling the brunt of this. Speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to Dorky Nerd. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dorky Nerd for the crew neck. It's dope. Visit their website, dorkynerd.com, especially now. Help find a brand that you appreciate because there's money coming. Apparently, this is my favorite part of the news lately is when they start talking about money. When they was like $1,000 per person and, all of this. Yeah, run me my money.
Run me. I'll take that.
Yeah.
You could just cash app it to me today. Actually, that'd be fine.
You could just cash app it. Like, also, unemployment benefits, call and find out if you qualify for unemployment benefits. What I found out today was that Uber and Lyft drivers are not qualified.
No. That's because they're independent contractors.
How? Like, that is shady.
Yeah, I see.
They're getting the cars from Uber. How am I independent? I couldn't even drive if it wasn't for you.
This is true. This is true.
That's bogus.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of folks who are in that, like, gig economy are really struggling right now, because not only are they not eligible for unemployment, but because people are going outside less, they're getting less rides, they're getting less passengers, they're getting less money, less tips, less income. So it's just a domino effect. So it's affecting a lot of people. I know it's affecting big businesses right now, but I think that the small business owners and creatives are feeling it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because the way that we earn has a lot to do with FaceTime, being in front of people and being able to connect in that way. So
now, we got a phone call. Okay.
Okay.
See, POTUS doing. Look, this is since the
I saw the headphones over
of
there.
LesTalk Radio. POTUS does not have faith in my phone calls. I need y'all to start blowing up the phone.
Blow up the phone.
She don't even put the headphones out for both people because she do not believe that we're gonna get phone calls.
We know that you're at home. You can't go
I
nowhere.
can't.
You might as well call
Still,
and talk to us.
This 3 years later, and POTUS still barely put the headphones out.
Ooh.
That's cool, POTUS. I see you. Caller, welcome to LesTalk Radio. How you feeling?
I am feeling wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Chelley.
Hey, who's on the line?
This is Ara.
Hey, Ara.
Hey, Ara.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm amazing right now. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling inspired. I'm feeling visible, and
I'm so excited to hear you say that. Honestly, I think that this is one of the most important times in our Black culture. I'd like to also bring some facts to you as well to share with your listeners.
Yeah.
It's been since 1992 since the Constitution was revised. Now is a time where we need to really be pushing Congress to protect women's rights. There's a code.
Hello? Hello? You were saying something real important. Hello? Women's rights? Hello?
Women's rights?
We need to protect women's rights. Hello? Okay.
She's like, I'm going to go protect them right now.
We lost her. But she did bring up thank you, Ara, for calling in. You did bring up a good point about a shift in our political perspective.
Absolutely.
What I'm seeing right now is that you can come and make a change nationally in a split second.
Absolutely.
And we're not doing that with other things that are diseasing our country.
I agree.
Ara's back up. She called back.
Hello.
Hey, Ara, you were saying women's rights? Yeah.
Yes. So, under the Welfare and Institutions Code, Section 15610 is something that protects elders, protects their mental status, protects their well-being, their state of mind. That's something that, I've been calling Congress myself to push forth right now because of this being such a sensitive time. Everybody's, conditioned to, be in a state of fear and be in a state of suffering. But for so many generations, we've already been experiencing that.
Right.
So a lot of people who are feeling liberated right now, that's literally, you're part of a miracle that's happening. You're part of a gift. You're, meant to use your voice at this time because there's so many people who have not experienced any kind of suffering or any abuse or trauma growing up. So, or, they're not used to, knowing how to liberate themselves in the moment. So this is a time where a lot of leaders, speakers, healers, activists, artists are really on the rise.
Yeah.
And, we need to find the courage to, come out and use our voices. I'm so glad that you're up and running right now, that you're using this opportunity to operate because through any kind of chaos, opportunity is thriving.
Yeah.
Opportunity is literally,
absolutely.
There are people right now trying to figure out new marketing schemes to promote us. This is the generation, this is the year 2020 where I personally feel like it's important to value the human mind.
Yeah.
It's nothing is more valuable than that, that, the human mind. And if we can start to shift our minds to think about more, the value of the mind, intrinsic values, we'll stop even considering the vessel, the body, the shape, what this is, how much you got. We're seeing, actually, there's a video I posted on my Instagram. I'm Color of the Universe. If anybody wants to follow me and what I'm doing, support me in building an etiquette school. But I think it's important that everybody kind of just put out there as much positivity, as much good. Have faith. Faith is a muscle. It's something you have to build, and where everybody's, seeing their favorite celebrities, panicking and things like that. This is also the shift where you see who's the real artist, Who's the artist that's actually thriving through this time, and who's just out to collect a check and money?
Right. Well, thank you so much, Ara, for sharing that.
Yes.
You are so amazing, and I truly appreciate you and your vibe. So thank you so much for sharing that and for calling. That's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited to see that you are operating. These
of
are
course.
Like businesses I support. I'm so excited.
Of course. Thank you so much. Much love to you. Have a good one.
Absolutely. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
No, definitely. I mean, there's so much to touch on with this.
That's right.
You know, like what, as per your knowledge, what is the coronavirus? What do you know about it?
What I know about it is what I've learned on the television and on the interwebs. All I know about it is I'm not a medical professional. I'm going to say that up front. I know that it's a respiratory virus that seems to attack the immune system through the respiratory system, and it appears to operate a lot like a flu-like type virus, flu-like symptoms and things like that. I've read that it's targeting people of a certain age group, people, 55 and over, 65 and over. And apparently it seems to be spreading like wildfire.
Right.
Or more people are just getting tested and finding out that they had it all along. Right. It actually isn't spreading at all. But,
right. It's a lot of, the news is giving a lot of misinformation. It's a lot of propaganda going on. But it's a virus that's like pneumonia. And it's a viral pneumonia. And it does attack the lungs and the respiratory system. Interesting enough, pneumonia, you can have walking pneumonia just like you can have walking COVID-19 and not know. And pneumonia kills 50,000 people a year. What's not alarming to me are these corona numbers. I mean, I'm waiting, not waiting, but globally, a poll just put this up, according to CNN today, globally, that means in the whole world.
The whole world.
Globally.
All the people.
There are 207,860 cases with 8,652 deaths. In the U.S., it's about 10,000 plus cases with 163 deaths. These are not alarming numbers.
No.
I'm not saying that you should not be safe. And the self-quarantine is just precaution. I don't think there's anything wrong with precaution. What I don't like is the fear and the lack of facts that are given to the people that can say, hey, we do have a coronavirus, okay? You're not going to die. Relax. This is what it is. It's a viral pneumonia. Pneumonia's been out already. We've already been dealing with viruses. Focus on your immune system. This is things that they're not even telling you, to focus on your immune system. You know what I'm saying? While you're being quarantined, while you're at the grocery store, let me tell you what to buy. Instead of buying toilet paper, you can't fight corona with toilet paper. I'm sorry. It's not going to work.
You cannot eat toilet paper. I mean, you could. But you're not
you could.
Satisfied
but
with toilet
it's
paper
not good for you.
No, I completely agree. I think that if anything positive is coming out of all this focus on this dis-ease and this virus is that hopefully it's giving people an opportunity to reevaluate exactly how they're living. Because like you said, when people go to the grocery store, if you went into the grocery store in the last 7 days, depending on where you live, I live in Long Beach, and so our stores were somewhat bare. But what I noticed was still there was all the produce. All the produce.
Greens was on sale for 99 cents. I was like, this is the cure. What is this?
Hello.
I ran into the grocery store. I'm like, let me get an apple or something. I'm like, it's all here.
It's all here. all the green. Whole Foods had greens for $1. A bush. Whole Foods, like the most expensive grocery store on the planet Earth, had greens for $1. I was like, I'll take all of these greens, thank you, and I'll take all of those. But like you said, what's happening is that people are going into and they're purchasing out of panic. They're not necessarily purchasing with purpose. And so I think what's happening also is that people are realizing that the way that they normally eat, live, how active they are is going to make a difference, because right now they're feeling restricted. Oh, I can't go outside.
I don't even think I almost disagree with that, because what they're buying is not things. Oh, well, yeah, you're quarantining yourself. You're thinking you're about to quarantine yourself. All the Twinkies is gone. Seriously, all the bread is gone, all the bullshit is gone. So you about to quarantine yourself and give yourself mucus, which is going to feed a virus.
Exactly. All the processed food, all the canned food. Yeah. So people get a chance, if you do decide to plug into the internet, if you do decide to follow someone like me and listen to some of the conversations that we're having. Yeah. I did a live on Monday when I went to the grocery store, and I literally did a grocery store tour. Like, this is what you do when you come to the store. When you go into the grocery store, you shop the perimeter. Yeah. Because the perimeter of the store is where all the fresh food is. Right. Once you go down the aisle, everything is processed. Everything that's in a package has been processed. So if you're thinking about shopping for a quarantine, you could still go buy fresh produce every 6 or 7 days once you're done cooking it. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of cans that's just going to go bad on the shelf.
And then it's like, I'm back to the numbers. I'm sorry, because these numbers are just, I'm looking for the numbers, and they're like, yeah, we have globally 10 people. But listen,
10 people have died of this virus.
But it's because they're giving you information for your fear.
Correct.
And for your panic. Yes. Not for your cure or for your sanity. They're not even trying to, this is what the problem is. I was looking up other things that are affecting us, because it really fucked me up when the way they are reacting to this, the proactiveness in it. Let's get all the homeless people off the streets. You could do that. So you
all this time that was available.
All this time you could have did that.
You had a place for them to live. All this time
you had a place to get the homeless off the street. All this time, Corona been here
all day,
all this time.
Been around.
Okay,
yeah.
You could act when here's an alarming number: cancer. They're estimating 1.8 million new cases of cancer this year. Wow. That's an alarming number to me.
Hell yeah, that's an alarming number.
Why aren't they taking the sugar off the shelves?
Hey. Because then people might get healthy. And then they might live too long. And then they got to make a virus to get rid of people.
Please keep in mind, this is an election season as well.
Right.
Remember Zika? Remember the Zika virus?
Zika.
We were supposed to die.
H1N1?
H1N1. What else?
Ebola,
we had SARS,
Ebola, bird flu, swine flu, MERS. Yeah. Every election year, there's a new virus.
That's just a coincidence. I'm not saying. I'm not even. I'm more of a historian than I am. I'm just historically speaking. This is our election year disease.
Correct.
Corona.
Yes, Corona. 2020.
I do suggest that you take the precautions seriously, though, just in the effort to,
protect yourself
and other people around you.
Right.
Because it's not that I'm not saying that Corona is not here. I'm just saying that it's here, and it is as serious as the other viral pneumonia that's been around that's killing 50,000 people a year. This has always been serious to protect yourself and to be safe. I want you guys to understand that safety has always been a pandemic. Okay? This is not new. We've been had coronavirus. Our education system has coronavirus. Our communities have coronavirus. Our politics have coronavirus.
Yep.
We've been diseased. And now I see that they can move and make change and help people right away. And that's a problem.
Correct.
That is a problem.
Absolutely.
That's a problem. That's the first time I've seen that happen in my lifetime. Oh, let's help the people.
Oh, they need us. Oh, that's right. We do have billions of dollars
trillions
over here, trillions of dollars available to support people.
Check this out. I'm gonna give y'all 1,000 a piece. Oh, you're gonna give all 40. It's 40 million people in California. You're gonna give 40 million people $1,000. That's just this state. Everybody.
Just one.
We had that money,
right? You just been sitting on this the whole time. Waiting for it.
You were telling me earlier some of the things, other resources that you can take advantage of during this corona pandemic.
Resources you can take advantage of. Well, for one, I'm a holistic practitioner with yoga and meditation as my foundation. And so if you are quarantined or self-quarantined or you're at home, take advantage of some of these free classes that are being made available on Instagram, on Facebook, where we're offering classes that we would normally charge by the hour to be able to provide these services for people. And this is a way that you can actually start to develop these practices for yourself in your own home, so that once, the Rona blows over, you now have a yoga practice, you now have a meditation practice. So in addition to learning to eat healthier foods and learning to be more mindful with your choices about what you put in your body, this is really an opportunity for people to learn how to practice actual health practices.
Yeah.
Not just medical practices. Yeah. Not just treating illness, but preventing illness by the way that you actually live.
Yeah. And you were telling me too about loans you can get.
Absolutely. So if you are a small business owner like myself and you're feeling the hurt right now because it's only been like 10 days, but we're feeling the hurt on our pockets right now, there's micro loans that are being made available through different resources where you can actually borrow money at a very low, damn near zero interest rate that you can use to kind of support your business. If you have employees that you need to make sure that they're paid, those types of things are available. So while unemployment might not necessarily be the route for you, there are other options. So it's just a matter of doing your research. I can definitely give you some information offline where we can, share with your followers that there's help out there, there's support out there. Like you said, there's a pile of money out there. And right now it's really a matter of who dives in and grabs the most. You know what I mean? If you're thinking about buying a car right now, maybe you've been saving up to buy a vehicle. The interest rates for auto loans on Monday were 0%. So if you got some boo-boo credit right now and you weren't sure if you were going to be able to get that low interest rate, it's probably a good time for you to go buy your car.
Get your Corolla.
Yeah, they're giving away. Same thing with buying homes. Property interest loans are extremely low. I believe they were under 1% in the last 10 days as well. So it's all about how you see the economic shift that's happening. I think it's really a huge opportunity for people who have some level of financial literacy to understand what's actually available. There's even money to be made as the stock market crashes. So,
yeah, facts. Get in on that. Yeah. Like if you that's all I can say. They're giving out money. Do your due diligence and get your money because also there's a number, right? If you want to get actual facts per zip code, you can call the CDC. And
you can also text 888-777 and text your zip code to that number.
888-777 and any zip code you want to know. And they'll give you accurate information from the CDC. Mm-hmm. Get off of IG. Get off of the news is scaring the shit out of y'all. Yeah. Right. I'm watching the news. And I was low-key like Nene coughed, and I'm like, it's just Is everything
I was right? Like, no, I got a text message on the way here at 8:02 from the city that just says Mayor Garcetti has issued a safer at home emergency order, and there's a link directly to the city's website. So what I like about that is it's accurate information. It plugs you directly into your city governor's office, your state governor's office or your, county mayor's office. That's the most accurate information because they have to report based on what's being provided by the CDC.
Right. And even the CDC, POTUS, did I have that one? Did I have a CDC? As of today, the CDC is posting that we have, the order. The order that he posted this, what is it called? The safe home, stay at home, safer at home.
Safer at home.
Safer at home.
Stay as a home.
This was sent to me by Dr. Tanya Gilbert. It's basically saying that you can leave, but only for like essential activities. Mm-hmm. So they want you to be around only 10 people in the gathering or less.
Mm-hmm. Essentially they're saying if you're gonna go outside of your home, don't just be out there dragging the streets, not really doing anything productive. It can feel a little restricting, though. I can say that. As a person
I'm getting cabin fever.
It can't. Yeah, I don't mind being at home. I work from home a lot, so I don't mind doing that. But the idea that I'm now being advised strongly advised not to leave my house unless it's essential. It's like, who determines it's essential for me to go to the beach? Right. It's essential for me to be able to go hiking. Right. It's essential for me to be able to be outdoors and not worry about, somebody like, what you doing, what? Right, so it's like, kind of feels a little uncomfortable.
It does. And I am worried about the mental health of a lot of people in our community because some people can't take this isolation. This is terrible for a lot of people's mental health to just be isolated and alone, especially people who live by themselves, who already have anxiety and, introvertness, and they're trying to come out and now they have to be forced to stay. It's a difference from when you want to stay at home to when they're saying, yeah, you have to, you need to stay.
You should.
You should better stay at home.
Right. You should better
stay at home.
Better stay.
I feel like
it feels like you're telling me I can't leave.
Yeah. Well, that goes into effect at 11:59. Be safe out there. The human crush, I don't have a picture, but the human crush of the week is going to go to the essential workers because they are working their ass off. They still have to go to work and keep the city kind of afloat a little bit, bring some kind of normality to what's going on a little bit. So that's who the Human Crusher is, which is interesting, too, about the Rona, that I can go to the grocery store. It's at least more than 10 people there. I'm not going to catch it there, but it's essential. Like, the Rona is nowhere where the essential stuff is at. Right. Like, I can't catch it from none of the essential.
Not there. Yeah, they don't have it.
Yeah. And today on the news, the news is funny, though. Like, the news is hilarious. They were demonstrating how to receive your packages. And so it was one... It was one newscaster, like, and she was dropping the package off, and then the other lady was like, wait till they walk away, and then go get your package and bring it in the time. It's not. Like, the Rona
like they didn't touch. The Rona doesn't live on cardboard. It's not. Cardboard is immune to the Rona.
This is like... This is like, I don't know.
Some of the recommendations border on like ridiculous. You know, I'm sorry. Like I get, like you said, in all seriousnly, yes, be safe, practice,
yes, please.
Safe, all that kind of stuff.
All the time,
but all the time. But do that all the time.
Even when the Rona's gone, and it will be gone.
Like kind of like people who don't really like wash their hands. Like go ahead and do that. If now is the time that you decided to start washing your hands every time you go to the bathroom, let that be a new practice that you get to take with you when the Rona is gone. But yeah. I feel you.
I'm here for you.
Yes.
I've been getting a lot of DMs. A lot of people ask me questions. I just been sending them to the CDC. And it's just really kind of like step back and look at what's going on. Also, I just thought about something. Up to 200 CEOs have stepped down from these conglomerate companies and sold their stock high. In January and February, when the stock market was booming, of course, Rona has crashed it. It's going down, of course. But they're out. They have CEOs from Disney, CEOs from IBM, Victoria's Secret, Hulu. These major Amazon sold like 4 billion shares of his stock. Like, I think that makes me uncomfortable as well.
Kind of seems like they knew something was coming.
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't want the value of my company to be depleted so greatly when the Dow Jones starts to plummet. So if I can unload some of these shares, if I can step away and even let go of some of my own stuff, then I don't have to go down with the sinking ship.
The reason why I don't like that is because if I'm not mistaken, now, like I said, I'm more of a historian. I believe Martha Stewart went to jail for this very same thing. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Martha Stewart went to jail for this very same thing.
Sure was, on the farm in a jumpsuit.
Yeah. So that's just, raises insider trader, I think is what it's called.
Insider trading is what that's called.
I think it's called
when
something
you have,
like that.
Previous information before release
and
to
you
the
sell
public,
your stocks.
and you sell your stocks. Makes you go, We're
gonna focus on the Rona though, but they cashing out. I want to know if that's still illegal. I just want to know.
It's not working out. I gotta get out of here.
I just want to know if it's still illegal or not. I don't know. I guess it's not anymore. But that's just.
It's still illegal.
It is? Are you sure? Because 200 people.
It's still illegal. But what's happening is that they're allowing...
Bill Gates? I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's still illegal. But what they're doing is that they're allowing it to happen because, some things are only illegal if you get caught. It's kind of like that.
But it's kind of like they're caught because I'm watching them.
I mean, we're watching them. We're watching them.
I can see them doing it.
The people that would be like, hey, don't do that. They haven't stepped up yet because they're so benefiting.
If I was Martha, I don't know. I'd be flipping. Yeah, I would be. For sure, I would write a letter. For sure, Martha Stewart, a white woman named Martha
beautiful
Stewart.
Stationery with like a
on
really
the Martha Stewart. Come on. She gonna put some potpourri in the envelope.
Sprinkle in the envelope.
The envelope
seal
gonna
it with
be
a little wax.
I think Martha, you should write a letter, Martha. I think you need to write your letter because this is out. That's out. That's out.
Not accept this.
I do not. Yeah, I served time for this very same thing, and Bill Gates gets to walk away, and it's not fair.
Hey, she probably is writing that letter. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You see how that feels when you just take a breath?
Just breathe, everybody, for everyone. Just take an inhale with us right now. While we're here with Keisean, our nomadic yoga instructor, our life coach. It's so fitting that you come here to calm us down, to just bring some sort of you know?
Yeah.
To the situation.
Some peace.
Some peace. We need it.
We do.
We're not even going to take a break because Rona, I don't even know how much time we have left.
Value every moment that we have. For we may not know what's outside on the sunrise.
Oh, that gave me a headache. I don't know how much time we have enough, so we're not going to waste any time. We're going to be present.
All right.
And let's get to know you. Keisean Rings, thank you so much for coming again, sharing your time and your space.
Yeah.
You know.
My pleasure.
I'm
happy to be here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Southern California by way of Los Angeles, Inglewood, Apple Valley, San Diego.
Okay.
I actually grew up not far from here. My grandmother lives off of Vernon and 2nd Avenue. And uncle's around the corner. So Leimert Park was a home for me. I went to Transfig as a kid for elementary school. But I also lived in Inglewood. And then during the late 80s, when there was like a mass migration out of LA, my parents decided to jump on that bandwagon and moved out to the middle of nowhere.
Apple Valley.
Apple Valley.
So Apple Valley is like nothing out there.
It's nothing. It's where the hills have eyes. It's where that's where those people live. So I went to high school out there and then decided to go to college in North Carolina. I went to an HBCU. And then I went to Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a little small school.
Okay.
But and then migrated my way back across country and made my way back home.
Right.
So, yeah.
And you that's a beautiful story though. So you've seen a lot. You've been through many different environments.
Absolutely.
And you said the late 80s. You look amazing. We don't talk about the age, but you look amazing.
Thank
okay.
You. I drink a lot of water.
Okay.
Alkaline water. That's what's in that big old canteen.
Thank you. There. Also, if you're fighting corona, like I said again last week, disease period. That means all viruses cannot exist in an alkaline state.
That's right.
So the more acidic your body is, the more susceptible you are to corona. To the Rona.
There you go. To the Rona. Drink alkaline water. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So you came back after you graduated. You were married.
I was. So yeah, what I did is I made a pit stop after college, and I pit stopped in the marriage center, and also pit stopped and became a parent at the time. And then after just a very tumultuous young marriage, decided that was not the best space for me to be in anymore. And decided to co-parent instead and made my way back to California and came out to my family and was like, hey, y'all.
Wow. Was that the reason for
the divorce?
It was.
Yeah, that was the reason.
Because
that was the reason. And he was a great dude. You know, we tried the whole open relationship thing and, you know, really because we were committed to both being parents, you know, and that was the most important thing. So he made his best efforts, but I felt like it's not even fair for me to continue this. And I think that what happens sometimes when you come out later in life is that you have so many people who perceive you to be one way because that's the mask that you've been wearing for so long. You know, that's the image that you've been portraying for so long. So when you finally come out, internally you feel so much freedom. Right. But externally there's so much judgment. Right. You know, there's so much, you know, disappointment. There's so much, well, wait, who are you? And who's this person? And so it took a long time. There was about 5 or 6 years that I was completely estranged from my family. Parents, siblings, everyone. And that's where I found my queer family. I found my queer aunties and my queer grandmothers and my queer brothers and sisters and found a new home. And so as time has progressed, I have great relationships with my parents now, my siblings, but it took a while. It wasn't easy. But it was necessary.
Love that about the queer community. How welcoming, you know, it can be to people who are just you know, isolated or maybe even abandoned or even having to be estranged from their families. The queer community really picks up the slack.
Absolutely.
And you become, you know, kind of like in slavery time, whoever got on the plantation was, this is your new mom now, this is your new family. We just, you know, adapt to, you know, our families.
Yes.
And we create that community. I think that's really beautiful about the queer community.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it's so necessary.
Yeah.
And I think because those like, you know, like queer elders, you know, they went through that when they came out. You know, it was a completely different time. I came out, you know, in the early 2000s. And at the time, gay wasn't as trendy as it is now. You know what I mean? There was no fluid thing now. You know, there wasn't all these rainbows and stuff everywhere then. Whereas for them, it was even less. There was less visibility. There was less representation. So having them just show up and embrace me and kind of show me the ropes in a way, you know, like how it was okay for me to present however I wanted to present. Right. You know, I went through like my tomboy phase where I had short hair and I wore little baggy jeans, and I was like, is this the gay uniform? Is this what's right? You know what I mean? And then,
I went through that too. I was like a hardcore stud at one point. Like,
it's like I went through that phase and I was like, nope, this isn't it. And then I tried a different look and super high femme makeup, heels, and I was like, nope, this doesn't fit either. And it was one of my queer elders who sat me down and was like, just you, Keisean. Right. Whatever that looks like. Right. It's always been in you. Now you don't have to wear the mask. Just take the mask off. Right. And it was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's cool. How did your son take the news?
He was young. He was about 4 years old. And so the majority of his childhood, he's only known me to be queer. Oh, cool. And so what was beautiful was when I remember he was probably like 6 or 7 years old. He had a friend come over and we hung out. And the friend asked, well, where's your mom's boyfriend? And he's like, she does not have a boyfriend. Right. She has a girlfriend. And that's okay. And I was like,
yes, thank you.
So I never felt any resistance or anything from him. He's super dope, even today, to this day. Yeah. Shout out to Seth.
Hey, Seth.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're staying safe out there.
Yes. Yeah, he's coming home tomorrow. But
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to that?
Did we lose the live?
I don't know what happened.
It was on there, and then it was like,
Oh, that's shady.
See, Instagram, I think, have you noticed, like, the internet? You remember you were talking earlier about the 5G
we're still live here, though.
But yeah,
but
notice that, like, the Wi-Fi has been kind of impacted and certain things are
Remember
crashing.
I told you yesterday I had seen a lot of electricians and a lot of people like taking pictures of electrical boxes, and I was just like, what's going on? And it wasn't like DWP, it was people with different I think I saw somebody like Ayers Company or something like that. I think it was weird. It had a real weird vibe to it.
Like the agents from the Matrix.
I don't know what that was about. Thank y'all for coming back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So you're out here, you're doing your thing. How did you find yoga?
Yoga found me.
Okay.
Yoga found me. I used to work for a little company called Apple. And I was doing a lot of ridiculously hard and complex work for a long time, and just reached a point where I was completely burnt out. And one of my sister friends, our sons grew up together. She said, come with me to this yoga class. So I went to this little donation-based studio, rolled out a mat that, I borrowed from the space, and fell in love the first time. It was a very cathartic, emotional, intense experience for me to be able to go through that practice. And I was pretty much hooked at that point. So I did a 12-week yoga teacher training, got certified as an instructor, started leading free pop-up classes in parks and gyms, anywhere I could find people, and then started getting personal clients and started traveling, and that's how I started.
So what is yoga?
Let me ask you, what do you think yoga is?
Okay, let me tell you what I thought yoga was.
Okay.
I thought yoga was a whole bunch of stretching. I thought we was going to be in there like, a namaste, a namaste, a downward dog, an upward cat. I thought it was going to be like that, right? And I went to my first yoga session, and they were like doing some really arduous moves with their bodies, and they were like putting their elbows and then standing straight up from their elbows, and I was like, I didn't think that was, I didn't see that in the pamphlet.
You didn't tell me that.
You didn't tell me. I got my mat, but I didn't see that.
Be doing fingernail stances.
It takes an incredible strength to do some advanced poses in yoga.
It does. And that's the reason I ask what you think, is because that's common. Most people think that yoga is complex poses, postures, balancing, twisting your body into different angles on a mat. And that is a part of it. Okay. But yoga goes well beyond the mat. So yoga,
what does it mean first?
The definition of yoga, which is a Sanskrit word, which means union.
A Sanskrit?
Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is an ancient language that is no longer spoken in a social setting, but it's an ancient language, much like Latin. But the language of yoga is Sanskrit. So all the poses, postures, the 8 limbs are all in Sanskrit. So yoga means union. And union is the bringing together. So when you're practicing yoga, you're practicing a reunion between the mind, the body, and the heart or spirit.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yoga deep. So, okay, you're unionizing it, right? I feel like my body type wasn't yoga ready, but they say all body types are accepted. Explain.
Yeah. Yoga is for everybody. and every body as well. So unfortunately, our media and the Western culture has give us the impression that yoga is for skinny white girls named Karen. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. And they have appropriated yoga in a lot of ways because yoga actually has roots in Africa, in Kemet. So these practices go deep into our ancestry as people of color. So it is for everybody. And what you'll learn is that when you walk into a yoga studio, if you walk into a studio like an Ashtanga studio, which is very intense athletic yoga, then you'll see a lot of those, you know, forearm balancing and scorpion poses and people balancing on, you know, their eyelash or something. And it's like,
it's
that's
ridiculous.
That's one style. Typically, people who go to that particular style of yoga are super hyperactive or super athletic, and they need something like that. But then you have other people who are looking for something that's more calming, that's going to bring you more inward, more into your body. So something that I'm really passionate about as a teacher is making sure that I can create modifications and accommodations for people of various body types to be able to practice the physical element of yoga, which is just like that much.
And that's the smallest amount. So, okay, we're combining mind, body, and spirit, right? So you're a teacher. How do you teach somebody to, because I always say that there's never one thing that contributes to any aspect of life. So there's these layers that we talked about. How do you teach people to peel back those layers, and what insight can you offer about layers?
The way that I teach people to go inward or peel back their layers starts with meditation. Meditation is a huge part of yoga. It's another one of those limbs that we talked about. Yoga has 8 limbs, like the branches of a tree. And one of the limbs is asana, which is the actual physical practice of yoga. And then another limb is samadhi, which is the meditation, stillness element of yoga. And so when a person is wanting to do some inner work and dig deep and start to peel back the layers of who they are, getting quiet, getting silent, getting still is the first step. Because when you get quiet and you get silent and you get still, you start to recognize all different kinds of thoughts and beliefs and feelings and sensations that come up in your body. And once you start to explore that, you start to see that your layers are dense. Some of them are delicate, like we talked about earlier. The layers of a human being are like rice paper. They have to be peeled back with intention, with gentle hands, and not just dig in. Everybody that can't take the tough love approach. That doesn't work for everybody. So I'm a person who has to assess a person that I'm going to work with to figure out which approach is going to work for them, because there's not a one size fits all either.
So how do you tap into the source of balancing? So far we're balancing the physical aspect and the emotional aspect. How are you coaching them to create balance in their life?
Helping them to identify what they think their source of stress is, or what they think, well, the reason I can't do yoga or the reason I can't get still is because of that person over there, as opposed to it's because of this person right here. So I serve as a mirror for my clients. I'm not necessarily giving them a step 1, step 2, step 3. These are the things you need to do. I do give assignments and things like that, but it's more about reflection. I give my clients a lot of questions to take home. Go home and ask yourself this. And the next time we come together, I want you to have an answer for me. Have 2, 3 answers for me. And so as they do writing exercises, which I call intuitive journaling, is to give them a question and they can free write as much as they want. And by the end of that, they're typically going to find their own answer. So as a guide, as a coach, I'm just there to hold the space while they actually do the work.
And it's really hard to balance and, make those key adjustments, because that's how you balance. So you have to adjust. And we were talking about progression with the particulars and peeling back those layers and moving forward with those little particular details of your life. What part do you think yoga plays in that aspect?
One thing about particulars is that they change and they're meant to change. You know, if you think about the things that you absolutely had to have and were totally into 10 years ago, may not necessarily serve who you are today.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Well, not the things that are trash. You know what I mean? Let those things go. So when you start to identify your particulars, my job is to help you learn how to let them go, how to release them. Because what happens is that we develop a sense of attachment to our habits, our routines, the rules we have for our lives, when a lot of times those habits, routines, and rules expire. like old bread. You know what I mean? So the same way you're not going to pick up a piece of moldy bread and make a sandwich with it, there's certain habits that you've been practicing for a very long time that if you continue practicing them are going to continue to give you the same undesirable result.
Right.
So in order to create a sense of balance between work and home or work and family or relationship and self, identifying which particulars or which habits that you have been holding on to is all about looking at yourself and saying, why do I still do this?
Right.
Because a lot of times we pick up habits and belief systems that we inherited from other people that don't even belong to us.
Right.
And so part of what I do with yoga and meditation is helping people to identify certain things about their lives that they could probably abstain from, avoid, or stop, and other things that they can start to adopt and allow to happen in their lives, and they're going to experience the change that way.
No, facts. And I know one of the things that can help with that progression is the narrative that we tell ourselves. I always say, like, how you perceive it to be is how you believe it to be. Whatever you think, whatever you tell yourself is what it is. I remember I was dating this chick and we took her kid to the like his first day of school, and the first thing the teacher said is she read a quote, and the quote said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." You know, right? And then she was asking kids what they thought that meant, and that's true. That's very true. It's whatever you think you can do, you're gonna do it.
Absolutely.
Whatever you think you can't, you're not going to do it.
That's the way it is. Yeah,
it just is.
Exactly. You're the one making all the decisions.
But now we talked about the layers. Now these narratives that we have so many layers. You talked about, you named several narratives. Talk about how to peel back those, how to deprogram yourself from the narratives you've been told.
Yeah, well, for starters, you have to admit to yourself that you have a story. That there's a story that you've been telling yourself, because a lot of times we don't even recognize that we're in a story, like the Truman Show. Have you ever seen that movie with Jim Carrey? He was in a whole story.
The whole traffic was fake, everything.
Didn't even know, but he had no idea. But at the end of that movie, when he realizes, I'm in a story. I didn't even write this story. I'm not in control of this story. He was like, as soon as he realized that he could change the story, he did. Yeah. And he got out. And he found a way to start to exit that story and to move into a state of freedom. Right. So us in particular, we have our Black story. We have our female story. We have our queer story. We have our American story. We have our money stories. We have our relationship stories. We have our physical health stories. We got all kinds of stories. And what's important, what I like to let people know is that you are the author of your story. You hold the pen. And you can pick it up and you can rewrite your story as often or as little as you like. You're not glued or cemented into your story. Right. And so the narratives that we tell ourselves, a lot of times we're like, but I've always been this way. It's just the way I am.
I can't stand that narrative.
I've always been this way. It's just the way I am. And whenever people say that, it's like, my question is like, how's that working out for you? Right. Being that way? Yeah. Are you living a life that you wake up each morning like, I am so happy to be alive? Right. Or do you wake up each day like,
I done fucked up.
I gotta do another day. Yeah. So that's part of what my intention was, my big intention was writing the book. You know, the book is Because I Said So. Simple ways to rewrite your story. And I had to rewrite.
Wait, what's the name? Don't go over that.
I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again.
Plug that book. You got a book called what?
So the book is called Because I Said So.
It's powerful.
Because I Said So. Because a lot of times people are waiting for someone to give them permission to rewrite their own story. And I don't need permission. I'm rewriting my story. Why? Because I said so. Why did I end the marriage? Because I said so. Why did I walk away from that job? Because I said so. You know what I mean? Right. Why did I leave that? Why did I, pick up this other, why did I start practicing yoga even though I had, a history rooted in Christianity? Because I said so. Because this works for me. And a lot of times people are waiting for someone to say, girl, it's cool. You could go ahead and have that relationship. It's cool. You are the only one who needs to do that. Yeah. And for people to know that no matter what you've done in your past, it does not have to determine who you are today.
I have a question for you based on that. How much do you think the fantasy of success plays to dis-ease?
Oh, hugely. A lot of people perceive success to be one particular narrative. Back to that narrative. People think, oh, in order to be conceived as successful or perceived as successful, I have to have this much money. I have to have this kind of status. I have to have this kind of home, this kind of car, this kind of, and a lot of it's material. But all of it that I just said is material. But what they don't realize is that some of the most successful people are not boastful. They're not, flamboyant. They're not flashy. Exactly. They're just living their everyday life.
They're quiet.
The
most richest people in the world quietly step down from their office and quietly sell their stocks and quietly will buy these stocks back at pennies on the dollar and quietly make more money behind your back. That's the richest people in the world.
Exactly. G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah.
I mean, Lil Wayne said it.
And I didn't even get that until much later. Like, oh, the G is silent in lasagna. Oh, my God. Bars. It took me years to get that. I was like, bars. Oh, my God. Lil Wayne is a genius.
Yeah, right.
Yes. But I digress.
No, it's fine.
So, here we are. You have your book, Because I Said So. And it's so powerful. When did you get that power? When did you say so?
I have said so a couple times at different stages in my life.
Okay.
And one of the first times that I said so was when I did walk away from a marriage. Another time that I said so was when I actually came out to my family. Other times when I said so was when I walked away from that cushy job. Trust and believe, walking away from a company like Apple, which, it was one of those global conglomerates. I had a whole lot of, what are you doing? What do you mean you're going to go teach yoga for a living? That's not lucrative. How are you going to live? Da, da, da. What I realize is I say so a lot. And I know that power is also ancestral. My grandfather said so. My grandfather has a monument over off of 48th and 8th Avenue.
What?
He was a pioneer in this particular community. He was on the grand jury. He served my uncles involved with the city.
What'd you say?
It's in my blood. It's in my blood
to say so.
To say so. It's not in my blood to sit back.
Where's grandpa?
The monument is the monument is on 48th and 8th.
48th and 8th.
Is that, 48 goes that way, and 8th Avenue. It's around the corner. There's a little park, and there's a little monument. Johnny E. Raines.
Okay, I'm going to go take a picture now. That's what's up. I love when I find out that little bit of history. It's so much history, so much of our history that is untold, and it's there. I was somewhere, and it was like 3 big black heads. And I meant to, it was, okay, I know where it's at. It was by the, where was I at, Kanisha? The City Hall, remember? Was that Pasadena City Hall? Okay. In front of Pasadena City Hall, there's 3 black heads that are like statues to these. I didn't get the history because I was at work for 12 hours. But I love things like that. Like your grandfather has a monument on 48th and 8th. Go visit that. Yeah. We're here. That helps change your narrative as well.
Absolutely.
Knowing your history.
Absolutely. And I was blessed to have that experience. I grew up in a household where on Sundays we were at my grandparents' house and we sat around the table and we had conversation, and I learned about my history and my lineage, and I know who my great-grandmother's names and aunties' names were, and, I know a lot about their story, and it actually does serve as motivation. And it also serves as a sense of duty as well. Like, I can't mess up this lineage of leaders, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be the one to mess up the flow. So, it stays with me. And I do call on my ancestors a lot when it comes to even asking their permission. Like, is it cool if I don't left?
How do you call I'm hearing a lot of ancestral talk lately. How do you connect?
I literally speak their names. In moments where I feel afraid or I feel uncertain or I feel unsure, or before I step into a class, before I step into a class or step into a session, I always take a moment and ask them to stand with me, to speak through me, because I know a lot of what comes to me comes through me, and I recognize that in a lot of ways I'm just a vessel, and a lot of the lessons that they learned that they didn't necessarily get to tell me while they were here, they can still speak through me now.
Okay. Well, deep. You have a podcast as well.
I do have a podcast.
And tell me a little bit about what your intentions were when you started the podcast.
My intentions when I started the podcast, which I started in 2017 as well, it's called Working Title with Keisean Raines, who is me. And the reason why I chose that is because I, like many, am a work in progress. And the podcast is also a work in progress, but it's working. And so my intention with it was just to be able to start to share some of the, what I call pass the collection plate, type conversations.
Right.
Because I'm a person, I love people. I love to talk. I don't like small talk. Right. I like big talk. I like deep talk. I like to talk about real stuff. Right. And I realized that a lot of the conversations I would just have with friends over the phone, I would say, damn, we should record that.
Right.
Somebody
no
probably
facts.
needs to hear that. Yeah. And so I started recording it at a pretty low point, in life, like going through a big transition in the front seat of my car. Right. I pulled out my phone. I found this app that would let me record from anywhere. And I started self-publishing, and now we're going into the 3rd season.
All right. How can somebody become a guest on Working Title?
Just send me a DM. You can find me on Instagram at workingtitle__ Keisean. You can also find me just on Instagram at Keisean Rains. Yeah. But everyone that's been on there so far has either been somebody that I know personally, or what I did last year just to kind of step out of my comfort zone was I reached out to a lot of people that I follow on Instagram and asked them to be featured guests, and they said yes. So there's people that have been on my podcast that I've never even seen.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. That's what I love about podcasting, the shared stories, just talking to your community and just vibing out with people just to see and get to know people's stories and what's popping. I really enjoyed, everything that you have going on. I love your vibe, your spirit. I feel like, that's what I'm missing in yoga. When I go to yoga, it's usually like I don't know, like I haven't had a spiritual experience in yoga. So I've kind of lost my faith in its ability. I'm just like,
and that's very common. And that's why I'm so passionate about bringing yoga, either reintroducing it, like someone like yourself who stepped in and was like, and needs another invitation. Yeah. Because practitioners like myself, yoga is not just a physical practice. Yoga is a lifestyle. It's the way that I live. Right. It's where I'm rooted. That's where my answers come from. There's so much that comes with this lifestyle that really does require me to just live in a different way. Yeah. To show up in a different way. Right. And so to be able to come from that space, you can't separate the spiritual element from yoga. You can't. So unfortunately, there are a lot of spaces that are selling yoga. Yeah. They're selling it. And in reality, yoga is meant to be offered as a gift. Yeah. It's meant to be an energetic exchange. That's why I do a lot of work that's donation based. Right. I do work that's just this crystal was a gift from from a student who couldn't pay for her lessons. But it's one of my favorite pieces. And I wear it all the time and it's got such good vibes. But she came to class one day when I first started teaching and just left a little box on the edge of my mat, and the crystal was in there with a note that just said, "Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me." And, I was like, oh, that's why I do it.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
How can somebody take a class with you?
You can take, right now.
I know. How can they get a cord? Look, Poe just put her scarf on right now. Like, she was like,
But what if they want a private class? I do facilitate private virtual sessions anyway. So you can DM me on Instagram at Keisean Rains, or you can, send me an email.
And the classes are free, donation based.
The classes that are virtual are donation based. So you can give what you can. And it's
via Cash App,
Venmo, PayPal, whatever. Not PayPal because they charge the fees, but Cash App and Venmo are fine. The best way to reach me is through Instagram. And then I have a scheduler, assistant who takes care of the schedule, and they'll plug you in and pick your time and go from there. All right,
we're gonna have to do like a dual live of us doing like a session or something.
Oh, that would be so dope.
Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Of you just reintroducing it to me and just we're gonna do that for y'all. Yeah. So y'all can see what's going on and get to know Keisean just a little bit better, and some of the things that you have to offer, man, to this community. I appreciate you.
It's my pleasure. I'm so grateful that it worked out, and I'm happy to be here. And I see the work that you're doing. You come in very high regard from some friends that we have in common. So I was like, guess who I'm going to go see today? So shout out to LaShawn and the homies that we have in common. I see the work you're doing, and I honor the work you're doing. And I'm so grateful that you're continuing to stand firmly in your light and your purpose. Thank you. I wish you prosperity and bliss always.
I receive that. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show and shining some light and some love. Thank y'all for tuning in, but y'all really didn't have a choice this week because y'all quarantined. So let's pretend like we're quarantined every week and support your community. Thank you so much. You already know my name is Chelley Chelle. We've been with Keisean Reigns today. Thank you so much again for coming out, and I'll catch you next week, and I love you for real.